In a previous video, we talked about how to add shapes to a slide and how to have fun by changing their appearance, at least changing their color. Today, we're going to dig in deeper. We're going to work with changing the background, and then we're also going to work with text and shapes all together and see some of the fun things we can do to modify those. So let's start a new presentation by pressing plus. Press the white one. Instead of tapping the box to hit delete and then tapping the other box to hit delete, I'm going to take a little shortcut. I'm going to tap the blank space, hit select all, and then delete both of them at the same time. Saves you about half the clicks. So before we add anything to our background, let's go to the paintbrush here and see how we could change it. Now, if I tap this rectangle next to background, it gives me a bunch of the presets like you're used to and seeing when you work with shapes, or we can go to our colors, or we can have fun with gradient. Gradient is where it's going to start with one color at the top, and then the second color will kind of morph into that way. And you can see how in different parts of the screen where they blend, you've got a mix. So if you start with yellow at the top, bright yellow, and then you go with this turquoise at the bottom, you get this stripe of green in between. And you can flip those back and forth. That's kind of fun. You could use this for a cool sunset background if you wanted to. Or you can use this angle. You can play with this to move it around. But let's set an image for our background. So let's say we're going to tell a story, and we want to really have a cool picture for the setting. Well, instead of trying to put a picture behind everything, just change the background's image. So if I go to image, and I tap on change image, I can go to my recent ones, and I'm going to pick this muddy, sloppy picture that I took today. All right. So here we have it. Got some heavy machinery in the mud. Well, let's add some friends playing in the mud. So I'm going to go to plus, and I'm going to go to my shapes, and I'm going to go to animals, and I'm going to find this duck right here and set that duck right in the puddle. And then let's give the duck somebody fun to play with. Let's give him a pig to play with here, because everybody knows pigs love mud. So let's change those colors. So go to the paintbrush again. Go to style and go to fill here, and that's a fun one. Go to the duck, make it just the standard yellow one there. Alright, so we can do more than just change color though. So if I go to the paintbrush and I go to fill, if you look, we have all those same choices that we had when we wanted to put our background in here. So if I go to gradient, I could make the pig more purplish. Alright. And with the duck, let's try with the image. Right? So there's that image. This works really well when you might have a picture of a cool texture. So like if you have pictures of feathers, you could add those in there. Or I could take a photo. So I'm going to take a photo here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of my cheese head. And I'm going to use the photo. Alright, and so my duck, and I have some other options here. I can stretch that, make it the original size. So now, and I can scale how much I want to zoom in. So if you look, the duck has this really cool texture now that we wouldn't normally see here. So we can still make this fun. I'm going to go to objects. These are very formal friends that are playing in the mud today, and they said, you know, wear your top hat. It's raining and the wind's awful, but let's wear our top hats to go play in the mud. And so the pig and the duck have their top hats on. Now let's add some text. Let's give this a fun title. So if I go to plus, it seems like there should be a text button, but there isn't. So what I have to do is I have to slide over to basic, and I have to go to text. And it's kind of hard to see because it's black when it comes in. But what I want to do is I want to move this around. I want to make this box as big as I possibly can. Okay. So I'm going to go to the paintbrush, and we're going to deal with the text just like we dealt with changing the color on the pig and the duck. And we'll have all those same options. Now, some kids get confused because they want to change this. If you fill this, tap one of these things or fill this in with a color, it will make that text box colored with the text on it. Sometimes that's helpful if you have a complicated background, and we might end up doing that after all. But what we're going to do first of all is we're going to go to text, and we're going to make it bigger. So I'm going to tap here, and I'm just going to lay my finger on it, and eventually after it goes, it'll start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There we go. Okay. And it's still going. Still going. Okay, let's slow that down. That's good enough there. We might have to make that much smaller. There really isn't a way on the iPad to type in the number you want. But let's change that color. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go to our image. Change the image. And we can make that text the same color as the duck with the cheese there. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap that. And I'm going to type mud fun. And notice it's gotten kind of big there. And it's kind of in the way. So I'm going to tap it again. I'm going to go back to my paintbrush. And I'm going to make it smaller until it all fits on the top. Just hold that finger down. Takes a while. There we go. Alright. So, we can have lots of fun getting creative with our slides. You can add a picture to a background. You can change your shapes that you add on here in lots of fun ways. And you can make the text really cool. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this text. I'm going to change this text a little bit. Get to my paintbrush. And I'm going to change it to impact. That's my favorite one. There we go. Alright, so change the fonts. Put it in cursive if you're feeling cool like that. But have lots of fun.